But she used to say, oh, y'all, how would y'all feel if y'all found out that one of y'all friends slept with y'all man or whatever, right? So you had sex with her? You fucked her? And he goes, yeah. Has anyone had that experience too in their 20s? Because I know I'm not the only one. Millennials tap the fucking. All right, guys, welcome back to another story time video. I want to start off today's video by saying happy holidays to everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed today's story time video. Obviously, you guys can see in the title right now what the story time is going to be about. Today's story time is kind of like, again, a life lesson. You know, my friend circles have changed over the years, and I pretty much have a permanent group of friends that you guys see. The loyal ones, they've been here from day one and they've been down. So yeah, so this is kind of like a life lesson type of video. Again, story time. It's a lot of parts in this video, so you guys will kind of understand where I'm coming from in this one. It's a little cringe, but hey, it is what it is. This story time takes place when I was like 19 years old, so I was fresh out there dating. I actually lost my virginity when I was 19 years old, guys. So this story is a lot, and you got to think about it. Back then I was 19, so emotionally I wasn't able to really like put everything together and understand what was going on at that time. But now looking back at it, like all that stuff going on, like yeah, it was crazy. But again, you know, we live and we learn, and obviously I'm on the other side of things now, so it's looking good for me over here, baby, period. So obviously I did go ahead and prime my face with the e.l.f. primer, and I did my brows already. Y'all know I don't do brows on camera because it's just too long and tedious. So I already took care of everything, guys. All the products will be listed down below per usual. Now let's go ahead and jump into today's juicy, I'm just joking, today's story time. All right, y'all, so this story time takes place when I was 19 years old. And around this time, I was dating my first boyfriend, who was this Haitian dude that lived in the city adjacent to mine. Now, I didn't really know that much about the city. I was only introduced to the city because of this dude that I was dating. And, you know, I started kind of learning the people in that area, learning the stuff, and learning, you know, the odds and ends. Now, the city that I lived in, there was a community college or whatever. So a lot of the people from his city went to the same community college that I went to. So that's how I kind of started learning more about, like, you know, the people from that area. Now, around this time, I was working at Best Buy. This was kind of like my first like official like job at like a store. Like, you know, I've been working since I was 14. I worked at a lot of summer camps. You know how they did like the youth programs and they give you like a job. You did the summer camp. I think it was paying like $8 an hour. So your checks would be like a good little $200. For someone that was like 14 years old, getting a $200 check was a good amount of money. Just to be in like, you know, in high school. So that was like kind of like my first set of jobs, but this was, Best Buy was like my first real kind of like job in a way, right? So when I started working at Best Buy, I met these two girls. Now these two girls, they worked the same shift with me. We worked on the register, and I also had a friend at that time who I was good friends with since high school, and you know, carried it along. So she worked there with me at Best Buy too. I should have mentioned that first. I had a friend at that time that was working at Best Buy with me, and we actually met two other girls that were working at Best Buy as well too. So it was kind of like, it was four of us plus Alex. So Alex is someone that you guys have still seen. Alex is like one of my best friends. So Alex is still in the picture till this day. So again, like I said, the ones that were supposed to stay stayed, and me, I ain't going out looking for people. So whoever's here is here, and if you come along, you show loyalty, you show respect, and you know, you match energy, then you could come on too. So yeah, Alex has been here since day one, rider, day one. And Alex is a Capricorn sister, so you know, we just locked in. So so it became five of us. So we met these two other girls at the job. They were really cool, whatever. So it became five of us. We also were going to the same community college, so we had like a lot of things in common. So it became like the group of five of us, right? So this was like a little 5-person friend group, and it was like a cool group or whatever, right? We worked at, Alex didn't work at the same job, but us four did, and Alex worked somewhere else. But we just all used to hang out. Like it just worked out that we all finished work at the same time, so we used to go out on the weekends together, hang out at each other's house. You know, like the fun little things you do straight out of high school, guys. And we're just kind of like, you know, learning to like live and go to community college and like have a life and, you know, work. So we're having a good time doing it as a group, right? So the two girls were actually from the same adjacent city that my boyfriend was actually from. So they both grew up in that same city, and I believe one of them went to the same exact high school that my ex went to. So I was just kind of like, oh, that's nice. So it was familiar. The other girl ended up leaving that city and moved to the city I was living in. So we are kind of like in the same vicinity at that point. As a matter of fact, both of them actually live in the same city now. So it was crazy. We all lived in the same city together now, but they were originally from the city that my boyfriend was from. So So that's kind of like how, you know, most of the people, like I said, from city to city, they kind of like match, especially because the community college, the main one, the most common one was in my city. So a lot of people were going to that community college or whatever. So I remember one time one of the girls used to always say, she used to always like bring up like these weird like questions, and I didn't know if anything was like mainly directed at me, but she used to say, oh y'all, how would y'all feel if y'all found out that one of y'all friends slept with y'all man or whatever, right? And back then I didn't really kind of like look at it like in terms of like a big deal, because like you ain't talking to me, like honestly and truly. And I said that just for the idea of like, number one, I know Alex ain't gonna be somebody sleeping with my man, because Alex isn't loyal like that. She's not gonna do something like that. That's a cap. We don't do stuff like that, right? We ain't sleeping with nobody man, period, right? So I already knew Alex ain't do it. I already knew the other girl didn't do it, because she had a man and she was just locked in with her jailbird, so I knew she wasn't gonna do it. And the other two, I was just kind of like, I don't even think that's that dude's type, so I'm not even worried about that either. So on my end, I really didn't see it being me, because like I didn't really see like the dude that I'm dating is gonna be doing it with any of, you know, you get what I mean? So I didn't really see any issues. Like I just was thinking in my head like, oh, it's definitely not about me. But she brought that up one time, right? And I kid you guys not, it was a few months later, because this friendship, it lasted a little bit of a stretch. I mean, not a long stretch, but she brought it up like once, and then like sporadically one more time she brought it up. And I don't know, in my head I'm just not like, why does she keep like saying that? And I didn't put that together at that time. I put that together after. But again, in that time I was just like why is she bringing this up? Like why does she keep kind of giving like this like almost like subliminal, but like it was just really awkward. Now, I did not mention to you guys that her and the two girls were actually really, really close friends. Like they were originally close friends, like really good friends. And it's crazy to say this, I don't even think they're friends anymore. Like, and they were friends way before we all became the 5 group. So I don't even know if they even talk anymore, but they originally were good friends, I think growing up or something like that. So I don't know what happened in sense of that, but like I remember them being good friends even before we even worked at that job or anything like that. So I remember she kept bringing that up, and I didn't think anything of it, right? So of course, my boyfriend ended up, like I said, he went to school with them, right? So he kind of knew them or whatever like that. And I didn't think like, you know, like whatever, like again, because I'm looking, not trying to judge nobody, but I didn't think in my head like, like why would he, you know what I mean? Like, why would he? But at the same time, he wasn't cute anyway, so, you know. Like, you ever been somebody's first bad bitch? Have y'all ever been somebody's first bad bitch? All right, then y'all know exactly what I mean. So, yeah. So I remember I was getting out of work one day, and I ended up going to the house. The girls were going to link up. We were going to hang out one day after work, right? So I get to the house, and already when I get to the house, I feel like this kind of like eerie vibe or like this weird vibe or whatever, right? So I'm just kind of like, okay. Like, so I get in there, and one of the girls, she decides to like, you know, say, I have something to tell you, right? So I'm like, mind you, Alex is sitting there, my other friend is sitting there, and I'm just sitting there like, yo, what is going on? Like, did something happen? Like, in my head, like, what is going on? And she's just sitting there, and she's like, oh, I have something to tell you. Mind you, the other girl who's her friend was not there. Her main friend, she was not there. I believe she was still at work, or she wasn't coming over. Around that time, they were beefing or whatever. So, like, I feel like they were in like a little spat with each other or whatever. So, again, that's kind of messy, because you could have told me this a long time ago, but you decided to tell me when you guys are like beefing, which again is weird. So she sits down and she's like, oh, I have something to tell you. I got it. She goes to me, I have something to tell you. And I'm like, oh, what you gotta tell me? She was like, oh, well, so-and-so, she fucked your man or whatever. And in my head, I'm sitting there like, who? Like, cause again, I'm not trying to throw shade or try to be funny. I said, who? And then obviously the girl that wasn't there, she said her. And I'm like, oh, word? Like, what? I kid you guys not. I really kid you guys not with this one. I kid you guys not. Oh, as she's saying it to me, I literally grab my keys and I head to the door. Like, they literally were sitting there trying to grab me, trying to pull me, trying to tell me, oh, don't go. And let me tell you something. As fast as I walked out of that door, I got into that car, honey. I didn't have nobody to call, because usually I would have called Alice, but Alice was already at the house with them while they're telling me this news. So it's not like I could be like to Alice on the phone, let me talk to Alice. I literally get in the car, guys, with music playing and fury in my heart, guys. And I drive my car all the way all the way to that adjacent city, which is not too far. It was about maybe like a 15-minute drive. Well, it wasn't too far, and it was nighttime. There was no traffic. So I got in that car and I drove to that adjacent city. Sure did. Drove to that adjacent city. Got right off the exit because he used to live right off the exit, right? So I call him. Right? I calling him and I'm calling. Why am I repeating? See how nervous I'm getting about this? So I called dude. And he comes out the house. And I ask him, and I'm like to him, so you had sex with her? You fucked her? And he goes, yeah. And when I tell you, I don't promote violence, but it was just a reflex. Pow, slap. Yeah, slapped him. Sure did. So obviously I was super upset with this dude, like so upset. And I know some of y'all like, oh, did you not confront the girl? Of course I confronted the girl. But I felt like when this happened, my main person that I had the issue with was him. And the reason why I say that is because he knew that I was friends with this girl. He knew that I was hanging out with this girl. He knew I was kikiing with this girl. So if you were messing around with her or whatever, you should have said something. And the thing about that is, even if you, because for me, this is how he kind of planted it. Oh, in the beginning when we were talking, like I messed around with her and stuff like that, right? So I hate to say this because it's kind of my fault at the same time, and I'm only gonna say it like this just for reference, or just this will help anybody else out. When you're dating people, make sure you guys have a clear mindset or idea of what's going on. Like there's a clear communication between both of you guys on where this relationship is. So for me, in this stage, this is my first boyfriend. I'm dating this guy, whatever, my first boyfriend, because it's an implied thing. I feel like a lot of the relationships that I was in back then were all implied. There was never anything that solidified that we were together. And that's the number one mistake I feel like a lot of females tend to get mixed into. We tend to think that somebody's our man, or tend to think that we're in a relationship, when these dudes don't even say that we are. And then we really fools that end up trying to make it seem like we're together, when the guy will end up telling you, oh, you was never my girl. And I feel like I've always been in, not always, but I feel like I've been on the teetering side of that being my resolution. So in this situation, because I was quote unquote talking to him in the beginning, he had free will to do whatever he wanted to, and he so happened to mess around with her. I just so happened to be her friend. I just started to be her friend around the time that they were messing. Like we just started locking in while they were, like, right when they were messing. So it kind of collided. But again, you already knew that. So why wouldn't you say something to me? Like, why wouldn't you say, oh, I just got to give you the heads up? Instead, I have to find out from somebody else. So that was a problem I had with him. It was the lack of communication and understanding. But again, I'll take my fault too, because I should have never assumed in the beginning that was my man, because to him, we was just talking. You see how you see, guys, do you see that? And at the same time, it was very hurtful, but I understood in my head, like, okay, fine. He messed with this girl before. I'm stupid enough thinking that this is my man when this is not my man. You know, like, I'm over here calling him my man when he's not my man. And around that time, he was clearly showing signs that, like, he wasn't, like, really, in the beginning, he wasn't really, like, that much invested in me. Even though he took my virginity away and stuff like that, which was a gold price for him, he just did not really like me that much. Like, who wouldn't really be mad about that kind of stuff? Obviously, like I said, I still blame myself at the same time for, like, not understanding where my position was at, because obviously, you know, at the same, y'all get what I'm kind of saying, but at the same time, dating men or dating boys that are immature, that don't ever make an effort to make something clear to you, was one thing that I feel like I've ran into with a lot of the dudes that I dated. The first time I've ever been asked to be somebody's girlfriend was at 32. I'm telling you guys, the first time I've ever been asked to be somebody's girlfriend was at the age of 32. The first time that I've ever had a real anniversary, like a real anniversary date, a real like something genuine, like relationship status, was when I turned 32 years old. At age 32, not when I turned 32, at age 32. So I'm telling you guys right now, from what I've gone through, a lot of the times it was all like implied situations. So for me being young and you know, just not knowing anything, I'm taking like, this guy's my man, like we're messing around and stuff like that. And again, I just, in the beginning, I should have read the signs. Like, he wasn't all that interested in me. Like, he really didn't really like me like that. I felt like we went through a whole summer that summer not talking to each other. But the moment I showed up back at school, and I came to school popping, honey. And I wasn't even worried about this dude. At this point, I really didn't care about him that much. But I showed back up to school that semester, and I came in there flexing it, and then that's when he had a change of mind, a change of heart, and he wanted me to be his girlfriend or whatever. Again, never asked me to be his girlfriend, but he started showing more interest or fake interest. Again, like I said to you guys in previous story times, I have always been the trophy girlfriend, the girlfriend that like looks good, like it looks is a good look for. But I feel like a lot of the guys just did not like me. So yeah. So obviously after that, you know, he explained it to me how it was, and still I thought it was all BS, because at the same time you see that I'm hanging out with this girl every single night, you know I'm around this girl, why didn't you just say something? You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of took a shot to my ego a little bit, because like no shade no tea or whatever, like but again, the dude I was dating wasn't even cute. Like, you know, like he was not even on my level anyway. So, you know, like I could see that, but it was still just like if you gonna do that, then why don't you make them the arm candy? Make them the trophy girlfriend. Why am I the trophy girlfriend? Put them in that position. That's what you like though, right? So we ended up all meeting at the house and having like a heart-to-heart. Me and the girl actually went into a room and we talked about it and stuff like that. And you know, it was like, you know, I started crying. It was like, we had like a little girl heart-to-heart. Like she was really nervous. And you know, she told me that she didn't, like, you know, the moment that she found out, she wanted to tell me, but she just didn't know how to tell me or whatever. Like she was very nervous and stuff like that, which I could completely understand. Like it would be really hard to tell somebody something like that. But I was, like I said, I wasn't even mad at her. Like she's not the problem. Like she was never, I never had a problem with her, because it was nothing that, like, it wasn't on her, it was on him. So I quit. Like again, you have to quickly assess that before you go ahead and try to fight somebody or get crazy or something, because come on now, she did not know me enough, but this dude knew me and then ended up knowing, again, crossing. Like again, the time that it happened was like literally like this, like we was talking. As a matter of fact, I can't even say when it was like this. No, we were still talking around the time. Again, miscommunication, me not knowing my position, I guess. Yeah, me not knowing my position in his life, me overstepping or overthinking what position I played in his life. So I played myself. So yeah, I guess, right? Yeah. So I was very understanding. Like I said, I wasn't mad at her. It is what it is. He gave his little apology or whatever. And again, you have to either stay and take it or go. So I took the apology and went about my business. I felt like the friendship ended up dwindling. I feel like the group literally fell apart right after this. And I don't know, I kind of felt like I didn't really it wasn't something like I had an issue with, but I just felt like the whole dynamics of the group started like crumbling after this situation. It literally, like, it was a domino effect. Everything just started falling apart after this whole situation. So me being the type of girl that I am, I literally wanted to torture myself with details. So while she was apologizing, I actually asked her to tell me like some details and stuff like that, because I felt like I wanted to know like how this dude operates. And that's one thing, like if I'm gonna find out that you're cheating on me, I'm gonna find out details from the person, like what you were saying, what you were doing, how you were operating. And that's one part that like it really pissed me off, because it's like, you're treating me like every other girl. Hence, okay, I may have been introduced to your family after the fact, but it's kind of like you brought everybody in your house the same way. You was hanging out with these girls around all these certain times and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, oh, okay. And the thing about it is, around that time, I was not really like, we was communicating, but we weren't communicating as much in the summertime. And I realized that during the summertime, he was picking up these girls and picking up her and just messing around and fucking with these girls in the summertime. And again, I was like the back burner type of girl. And I'm like, just the description of stuff, like her going to his house, seeing what his room looks like and all this kind of stuff, y'all. I'm telling you, it made me even more upset with the guy, because it's like, so I'm not special at all. Like, you literally just like bring in all these chicks in through here. They know they walked and they say hi to your dad, and that part pissed me the fuck off too. Like, oh, so they walking in the house and they saying hi to your dad, like they talking to your dad and stuff like that. So it really ticked me off, because I'm like, I don't even know you. Like why you acting like that? Because to me, like, if you, like, when I'm with this guy, he's like one of those kind of like quiet, kind of like, I consider like dorky in a way. So you wouldn't really think that he would operate in that sense. So when I found that stuff out, kind of made me like side eye him. But again, I still sticked around because he wasn't my man. So like, how could I be mad? He wasn't my man, right? So our little friend group diminished soon after that. I felt like just a lot of other stuff started to happen. The other chick that I was cool with her. This dude, again, I've been guys, stuff that I've been doing. One of these dudes was kind of like a popular drug dealer or whatever. He was interested in me around that time or whatever. Yeah, don't, please don't. He was interested in me around that time. And again, one of the girls I used to hang out with, she lived in the hood or whatever. She had like her own apartment in the hood. And me and Alex's asses, little girl, me and Alex, all sweet and soft asses, used to go out there to the hoods, to the projects or whatever. And I guess like he kind of, saw me, and was telling her like, oh, I want to talk to her, whatever. Mind you, that girl was in love with him. Again, very messy situation. I feel like I was always in those type of messy situations because like, why y'all bring me into this? I don't even date hood dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, why y'all trying to bring me out into this kind of stuff, right? I'm just an innocent girl coming out here to hang out with my friend, right? So I guess he had hit up the girl that lived in the projects and was like, oh, what's your girl's name? Again, my mom is actually very popular in the city that I live in. So everybody knows, they pretty much know who me and my sisters are. If you kind of get what I'm saying? Because my parents had like stores, corner stores and stuff like that growing up. So a lot of people in, I was about to say the city I'm from, they know my parents really well. So he already knew who my mom and my dad were. So he was like, oh, like hook me up with her or whatever. And she was there and she was so upset because when I tell you guys, she had like a small fling with this dude and she was in love with this dude. And I guess like their little fling ended and he was done with her and he wanted to deal with her. So I guess he wanted to deal with me and she was so upset like about that. So that was another reason why the friend group diminished. And the only two people that lasted together in this whole 5 group was me and Alex. Like the group literally diminished. The other girl, she kind of went and did her own thing. She had kids and like, she couldn't do as much stuff, so we kind of drifted off as friends, which is kind of normal. Not saying because she had kids we kind of separated, but life kind of went different ways. Me and Alex started going to school, like doing different things. Like I became a nurse, Alex became a social worker. We're just kind of doing different things, traveling a lot and stuff like that. So the friendship kind of dwindled. And literally, me and Alex are the only two that lasted together. We literally are the two that lasted together. Till this day, I actually still follow and communicate here and there with the girl. Like I said, I have no with both of them actually. Both of them actually got married and stuff like that too. One of them has 2 children and the other one has a stepchild. So like I still follow them on social media. Like there's like no ill feelings or anything like that. Again, I feel like I'm not trying to blame myself, but I feel like when you're young and you're dumb and you're dating, we need to, I'm just saying this to anybody in general, especially me, we need to be more aware or be very clear with our person or significant other on what this relationship is. I felt like I kind of put a lot of my eggs in the basket with a lot of situations in my early 20s, assuming that this person was my man just because they gave that vibe, that facade, they gave that attention to me, and I jumped to conclusions thinking that they were my man and stuff like that when it wasn't the case. So again, I'm not fully blaming myself because again, I feel like it was kind of partially his fault too because he could have said something about it, but I always put myself in those positions and I learned quickly along the way, especially when I was in my savage mode era. I knew like what my position was. It wasn't anything more, it wasn't anything less. And I feel like having those kind of lessons along the way, especially at 19 with that dude and having that happen to me, I definitely, after that experience, was kind of like, I'm gonna know my position in people's lives, especially when I'm dating somebody, because if you need to know exactly where you stand in their lives or in their mind, because if they don't directly tell you that you guys are together as girlfriend and boyfriend type of situation, then don't try to play your role. Don't overstep your role. Just do what you got to do. So as the friendship between me and the girls ended, I still kind of like held on to the memory of that whole situation. And I remember one time we went to Boston for like the weekend or whatever. It was kind of like a quick first time of like, that was like my first trip with a significant other. And we just did like a small road trip from Connecticut to Boston. And I kid you guys not, I feel like on that trip, something was just so triggering. And that was the first time like I had like a little drink or whatever. We was drinking in the hotel room or whatever. And then I remember just kind of like crashing out in that moment. Like I started to get drunk and just something just came over me. And it's crazy because the dude that I was dating at the time, I literally just started to cry, and he just like went silent, like literally went silent on me the entire time. I tried to apologize or whatever, but like I felt like the overwhelming feeling of just the whole situation just came over me, like when we had like a moment together on a trip. I don't know what it was, guys, but obviously I was still hurting from it. I was just like still like, you know, like pissed off and just like sad, like how could you do that to me? Even though again, I needed to play my position. That wasn't my man. But still, like, and again, thinking about it now, he probably was looking at me like, girl, what the hell you crying about? Like, you wasn't even my girl. Like, get over it. But again, that's just not human. Like, you gotta like, I feel like even though like maybe I was naive and stupid, but at the same time it's just human. Like you knew I was cool with that girl, you knew like me and her was hanging out like that. It would have just been nice for you just to give me the heads up instead of having me go through that type of like pain. Like that shit was super embarrassing. And again, like I said to you guys, that definitely kind of like kicked my self-esteem a little bit. And again, nothing about in the sense of like, oh my god, is she better than me? Oh my god, does she look better than me and stuff like that? It had nothing to do with like me competing with the girl. It was more like, why am I not good enough for this dude? Like, why does this dude feel like he needs to like go low like this to be with other girls when he got a hot girl right here? Like, I just didn't understand it. Like, it was confusing. But anyways, it didn't matter anyways, because like today speaking, I believe he's like with a snow bunny, and again, like I told you guys, a mess. Again, maybe that's just, maybe I wasn't looking at myself in the light that I should have been looking at myself in, because I felt like a lot of the times the people that I've dated, like some of the ones that I dated in my past, I feel like I was trying, I don't know what I was looking at. Like, and again, I'm not someone that dates for looks. I date for like, you know what? I honestly and truly don't know what I was dating for back then. I have no idea. So this is the finished look, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today's story time. I feel like the main takeaway I want you guys to get from this video today is clarity in your relationships and friendships and stuff like that, especially relationships. Knowing your position in a relationship is definitely going to be detrimental for anything moving forward when you're dating somebody. You need to know what your position is, where it's going. I felt like in my 20s, I had no clarity as far as who I was to someone in a relationship or my position or anything like that. And I felt like it backfired me a lot in my early 20s, especially when I was dating people. Like, people literally will string you along forever and ever if you don't have boundaries and stuff like that. Or a lot of the implied relationships, or like, you my girl, like never ever, you know, setting anything in stone. I feel like everyone should have a fairy tale like moment in life, you know, especially when it comes to romance. We shall all be able to experience romance, have like a real, like, you know, type of experience like that. And I felt like in my 20s I had none of that. I felt like a lot of the people that I dated just kind of like implied like, oh, you my girl, it is what it is. And you know, it just confused me a lot. And I feel like this situation confused me at the same time too, because I was talking to this dude for months before this happened. So like in my head, I'm thinking like we're on that road or whatever, but come to find out after that, it just wasn't what it is. So again, like me, I stayed around, stuck around, and yeah, so I stayed around in the relationship even after that, even after he showed that he liked me or whatever, but he didn't really care about me now. I felt like if I had more clarity in certain situations in my early 20s, especially when I was fresh in the dating scene and stuff like that, I wouldn't have gone through that chaotic whirlwind of emotions that I didn't need to be in at that age. Like, I literally could have just taken things for what it was and moved on. But I kind of felt like because I was so stuck into those kind of like implied relationships and, you know, trying to I felt like a lot of the times I was always trying to win this prize, like win this like prize. And let me tell you what I'm starting to think it was this entire time, and I'm gonna be completely honest, having a very, very open conversation, a vulnerable moment with you. I think I always was trying to chase a ring from any guy that I was dating. I literally feel like that's what it was, because the amount of things that I like put up with or kind of like just stick around with, nobody would really do that. But I feel like there was like this planted dream in my head that, oh, you meet somebody, you date them, they propose to you, marry. And I felt like I was trying to get to that level 100 with everyone, and I was stopping at level 5. Has anyone had that experience too in their 20s? Because I know I'm not the only one. Millennials tap the fuck in because it has to be us. Like, it's just something about it. Like, I literally would stay there until I hit ding, 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 level 100. And I'm telling you, I never hit level 100. I was always stuck at 5. Yeah, y'all crazy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's story time, guys. Again, happy holidays to everyone. I will catch you guys next week. Don't forget to watch the previous vlogs that I put up, guys. Make sure you guys go ahead and catch up this weekend. And I will catch you guys in a later one. Bye.